Alright, today I'm going to tie you a copper john. To begin with, I put on a little bit of lead wire. I wrap this counterclockwise because I'm going to wrap my thread clockwise. I usually put about 8 wraps of lead wire down. So I just kind of wrap that around and then push it up underneath the bead. This is a size 14 52/62 Tiemco hook, and then this is a 7/64. It's actually a tungsten bead, but tungsten, copper, whatever. But I like the 7/64 for a size 14 hook. So once I get this lead ribbon down, then I'm just going to go ahead and tie on my thread. So as I'm putting down this thread, I'm trying to have every wrap kind of slowly taper up to the back of this lead that I've put down. The reason why is when you wrap down the copper wire, it's going to help give a smoother transition for the body. So I just kind of keep going back and forth. Hopefully you can see this on the video, until I kind of make a little ramp that goes up over that lead, and then I'm just going to wrap that down. Alright, the next step is going to be tying in the biot tails. So I'm going to bring this back to about the barb of the hook, or actually a little bit further than the barb, almost to the point where it's starting to drop down. And then I'm going to try to make a little ball on the very back of the hook with my tying thread. Sometimes people put a little bit of dubbing back there, which would work, but I'm just a really lazy tyer, so I figure thread works just as well for me. So just kind of make, doesn't have to be too big, because if you make it too big, then it's kind of a trial and error process, and hopefully I can get this to look right the first time, because biot tails are still not my strong suit. Alright, so I make that little ball here, and then I bring my thread up to the halfway mark on my hook. Alright, I'm using the I'm not exactly sure the color. I guess it's just the same brown that you use for like a prince nymph. So I'll rip off 2 at a time. I stick one in my mouth. So well, and for this instance I won't put it in my mouth because I want to be able to talk still. Alright, so I'm going to measure it up to the hook, and I just kind of eyeball it. So I'd say it's probably about half the length of the shank that I have the tail go behind. And I'll switch hands and just kind of clip, well, I just started a new technique, so actually I don't clip that off yet. I'm going to put this to where I want it on the hook, and I give 2 good or 2 loose wraps, and then I kind of pull it tight. Alright, and then I'll turn this way and do the same on this side and matched up with the other tail. The reason why I don't cut off those ends yet is it's easier to line up your biots if you don't cut these tips off first. And so I don't cut those off till I have a nice till I have them tied in nice and straight, because they are a freaking pain in the butt to try to get right. So I'll just kind of, again, I try to make every one of my wraps side by side, and then it's just kind of a trial and error process to get the right tension and whatnot. Alright, so I've got those tied in about the way I like it, and then now I'll go ahead and clip off these ends here. Alright, and then I'm going to go back up to the top of to where about the thorax is. Whoops, I didn't quite even that up. Alright. Alright, the next step is I'm going to tie in my copper wire. This is the brassy size ultra wire. I like it in a bodkin or bobbin or whatever it's called, just because it's just easier to wrap it evenly on the hook. And so I'm going to tie this in about to the 3/4 mark going back, and then it's kind of a balancing act for me here. Oof, okay. I'm lucky when that doesn't happen, but luckily it didn't all roll out on me. Alright, so I try to justify my rotary vise as much as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap this back and just try to get the wraps as close together as possible. I kind of messed it up there at the top, but I don't think it's going to matter because I think it's going to be covered over by the peacock and the flashback. So just kind of wrap that back. Whoops. The other reason I like it in the bobbin is I don't waste as much wire than if I just cut off a few pieces. So I got it here at the back, right about where my thread ended. I might be able to squeeze one more wrap on there. Okay. So now what I do is I pull it straight back towards me, and the wire is gonna break right in the bottom of the hook, just like that. Okay. I really don't have any problems with this wire unraveling. So I like it this way because a lot of times when you tie the wire in to the back and then wrap forward, you have a really weird looking lump there. I just don't think the body looks as good if you don't do it the way that I did it. Alright, so the next step is I'm going to put in a little strand of I can't remember what it's called, but it's this shiny stuff. Okay, Flashaboo or something like that. Alright, so I'm going to tie a couple wraps of that, and then I'm going to put in some black skinny skin or thin skin. This is just the Montana fly skinny skin. It's cut about just shy of the width of the gap of the hook. I tie it shiny side up so that when I flip it over, the dull side can be facing up. On Charlie Craven's fly box, it just says to go ahead and do it that way because the epoxy sticks to the dull side better than the shiny. So that's just the way that I do it, and I'm not sure if it matters with the UV knot sense or not, but that's actually what I use instead of epoxy. Again, because I'm just lazy. Alright, so tie that in. Alright, the next step is to put in some peacock curl. Just going to grab a bunch of strands of this. I'll just try to pull out all the junk that comes with it. And I just try to even up the tips as well as I can. Maybe a little too much, but I actually like using a lot of peacock curl with my for my thorax. Alright. So I'll start that about the eye of the hook and then go back. Alright, and then here, see if there's a few loose ends or a few hurl things that didn't get tied in, then just pull those out. Okay, I'll wrap this around my thread about 6 times, 4 to 6 times, and just kind of pinch my thread and the peacock curl together. I'm not sure if you can see this on the camera, but I just kind of pinch that together, and then I'm just going to roll this and make a nice little fat thorax. The reason why I include the thread in there is the peacock curl is just really brittle, and so I found that if you don't reinforce it, then it'll break on you and the fly just gets really weird looking. Okay, so I'll put a couple behind and a couple in front and clip that off. Alright.